Welcome to another episode of Driving to the Res with your favorite hosts,
Larry.
And Inelia.
Inelia, I mean. And Larry. I got it backwards. Sorry, honey.
Well, that was one of our submissions by the Pandia tribe.
Pandia tribe of Romania.
Yes.
Yes. They're quite good. Honestly.
It's excellent.
It's quite excellent. And a matter of fact, I loved it.
Me too.
So if you loved it too, don't do anything.
Then we can keep that one forever. And if you have other ideas and you want to submit yours, start sending them. It's not complicated.
No, it's not too complicated.
All right.
Send it to, where do you send it to?
Ilia at walkwithmenow.com.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure that's what he said. But if he didn't, I'm sure he'll link it. He'll fix it.
Okay. So it's not complicated.
It's not complicated if you remember where to send it.
We're funny, honey.
Yes, we are.
Anyways, yeah. That was quite fun.
Yeah.
The first time I heard it, I was like, no way, they're Indian.
I know.
That's awesome.
Some Indians sent it to us. Very, very good.
Very good. So what's been on your mind, honey?
My mind? Oh, a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, this week.
It's been an interesting week, honestly.
Super interesting, yeah.
I almost don't know where to start because this has been 7 days. That feels like about a year.
Indeed.
For you too?
Yes.
I mean, I think I started out the week by locking all my doors.
You did?
Windows.
Yeah, you did lock everything up.
And putting extra clothes on.
Yeah. That was interesting. That was very interesting.
That was very odd.
Yeah, because we usually leave all our doors unlocked, windows open and everything.
Well, honestly, we have Tiny and Lucy
guard dogs
sleeping underneath the palace with their little eyes looking out at everything all night long. So literally nothing can get to the door unless it's acceptable to Lucy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I still locked all my doors.
You did? Yeah.
And closed them and got dressed.
Yeah. And you said you slept really good.
Mm.
Yeah. Do you want to explain why you did that, or?
Well, that's how the week started.
Yeah.
Why don't you you describe your experience of it? Mine was, I don't know. I should probably lock this door. Anything could just walk in through this door in our bedroom.
Yes.
So I locked that door, and I mean, when we first got here and first started using the palace for a place to stay, residence. Yeah. We always locked that door and left it locked because you didn't like people walking in your bedroom from outside. True. Come on. Mm-hmm. But since then, with puppy and with the other dogs and with the convenience of it, sometimes we just opened and left it open. Yeah. But that night, I clocked the thing. I closed it, pulled it hard, made sure it was locked. It's like, wait a minute, what about the sliding door? So I locked the sliding door too. And I was wondering, that's really strange. Why am I locking all these doors? I never locked the doors.
No, you haven't.
And, the truck, in the car, in the house, anywhere, everywhere around me. Yeah. I did lock my boat, but that's because I'm not anywhere near it. I can't have my feelers into it. It's a little too far away for my feelers to be functional. Yeah. But then I come in there and you noticed that. So what did you think?
Well, you asked me, are we going up to the ship tonight? Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I'm not. But it feels like you're going to go somewhere. And we tested it to see if it was afterwards, right? We tested it to see if it was maybe the same guys that we've been talking about for a few weeks now. And it wasn't. Kind of, no, wasn't. But it was different. Let's just say it was different.
It was, leave my nose alone, guys. Mm. So it felt like.
you might think, well, locking your doors and stuff doesn't do anything because they can just teleport you out, right? But it's a physical statement of your intent not to go.
It's a physical.
Yeah.
Yep, it totally was. It felt like, no, not tonight.
Going.
I'm not going.
Yeah. And when you make that statement with a level of knowing, not fear, but knowing, that's when you're empowered, right? That's when you take your power and you're making a statement of, this is my life and I'm the author of it. You're the authority of your experience.
Yep. What I'm curious about is why.
Why what?
Why my self decided, no, not tonight. Was it a tonight thing, or was it a ever thing, or was it a I'm not so sure about this thing, or it just felt, I didn't have certainty about why, I just knew.
What about now?
If you
tap into it, if you tap into it now, what do you feel? What do you sense?
Feels like a little bit of an old group supporting my old life, to get me to here through the light dark parts of life that I lived. I needed some pretty good guardians, I suppose is one word to look at it, but also co-conspirators. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, we're fine if you go driving around a car, drinking whiskey and beer, partying and whatever else. We'll keep you from crashing.
Right.
Kind of a codependency.
Yes, that's a good word for it, codependency.
A little bit codependent there. And so I don't do that. And I definitely don't have a need for any of that kind of codependent or co-conspirator allies, I guess.
Yeah.
Allies in the co-conspiracy. Feel
that
like
makes sense.
We're done.
Yeah,
we're done.
I think it feels, done. And it's not like they come every day. I mean, it's very rare when they come in.
And it's usually a mess.
Yeah.
But, I was a mess too.
Yeah. That makes sense. That resonates.
Well, that's the interesting thing about these things. You sit here and wonder about it. Just tap in and answer it.
Exactly. Tap in.
You're not powerless.
Exactly.
The information isn't withheld. Just tap in.
Yeah.
I'm fine with this.
That works.
I like it. Good job, honey.
Me too.
So, what were you thinking when I was locking all the doors?
I wasn't particularly thinking anything in particular, but it made sense to me.
Well, it was completely unusual behavior.
Niggles. Yeah, but it's one of those niggles. Often when we get niggles or knowings, we act in a way that is unusual. But the negative aspect would be if we ignore them because it's unusual. And we might think, that's just silly, or invalidate it by ourselves. Or not do it because we think that other people might think we're silly.
Right. That's something we also experienced this week, was ignoring niggles. And not only ignoring niggles, but not sharing the niggles that we...
not even recognizing it was a niggle.
Yeah.
Right? Not even recognizing that it was a niggle.
Yes.
Yeah, that happened this week too. When a group of friends were getting scammed. Where the energies that you and I got was, I don't want to hear about that thing. We didn't know it was a scam, but we just didn't want to hear about it. We didn't want to look at it. We didn't want to participate. It was a complete rejection of the entire project.
Right.
And we didn't, neither of us said it. We just left, right? We were silent. And then it turned out it was a scam. I was like, now I understand why I had that feeling.
Right. And if I had shared it and you had shared it,
then
your feelings about it,
maybe
it would have become more visible to us as a we.
Yes.
A we group.
Yeah, we group.
Our group. As it felt like it was the best, the thing we did was basically go lone wolf.
We did. We just removed ourselves from it rather than speak about it. I don't want to participate in this, and it actually felt nauseous to me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And I should have known that was a niggle, because one of my body's way to communicate with me, whether I'm driving somewhere, I'm going the wrong direction, or we're doing something that's not optimum or not supportive, my body gets nauseous. So I should have known, but I didn't listen. I was distracted and I didn't listen and I didn't share. So now I'm more aware of, okay, I'm going to take more attention.
Pay more attention.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't, nothing.
It's not a nothing.
When you pay attention to your niggles and you get your niggles, pay attention to them.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean they're only about you.
Right. It's not just about you, but also the niggles could be positive and negative, right?
And the niggles...
Do this, do this, do this.
Do this.
Don't ignore it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't ignore it.
So it's reasonable to share your niggles with the group, say the top 5 people that you spend all your time with.
Yeah.
In situations involving them specifically. If you have a niggle information, share it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Share it.
Yeah, share it.
That's a lesson learned. That's kind of along the lines of the next thing that came up, which was distractions.
Distractions are amazing, aren't they? Distractions come in all sorts of ways.
High and low frequency distractions,
Yeah.
So generally speaking, my set point on distractions, I think of distractions popping in like you're going to do something and then maybe it requires concentration or something.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of loud noises happen.
Yeah.
And that distracts you from your concentration.
Right. Or drama happens.
And it pulls your attention from what you were doing over to, hey, you got to pay attention to this because it's dramatic.
And to us, a lot of the times, or to me in particular, it's a beautiful butterfly or a beautiful rainbow or sunset or an eagle or a leaf that falls down from a tree in the perfect way, and suddenly I'm absorbed in that beauty and I forget what I was talking about or what I was going to do. Yeah, so distractions can come in all sorts of flavors. But the nature of distractions is interesting to me, because sometimes, I talk about it in the interview with an alien book about how there's certain information that you have programmed yourself or to not go there, and simply not from a victim-aggressor aspect, but simply from the aspect of you came here, were born in a light-dark paradigm, and to live in a light-dark paradigm, you need to be in a sense of an illusion of separation and very much involved in the I, me, and myself. So when you start coming out of that, the programs that you brought in to have that experience start kicking in and distracting you away from becoming your mind becoming expanded and your awareness becoming expanded and your experience becoming more high frequency and not low frequency based. Right. So those programs kick in, but also you came with the other programs of become aware that these are distractions to stop you from expanding your awareness. And, you come with those programs too. So you may read one of my books and then you don't remember the past page or chapters.
Yes.
And then you have to go, oh, what just happened? What did I just read in the last page? Okay, I'll go back and read it again. And after 10 reads, but eventually starts sticking.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But you have to be aware of that part. I just forgot such and such.
So that distraction or that forgotness is a message to the aware you.
Yes.
Go pay attention to what you just got distracted from.
So if it's a big negative distraction or a big positive distraction, you immediately look at what was I doing just before that? What was I just thinking before that? What was I planning just before that?
Yep.
And then usually you get your answer.
And then you can focus your attention in the way that you actually want to.
Exactly.
Maybe not towards the distraction, maybe towards what you were doing.
Exactly,
right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it also, one of the things that, especially if you get distracted with low frequency engagements, drama, or other things, have a look at victim aggressor energy. There's a lot of material about it in ineliabenz.com. Mm-hmm. I've written hundreds of articles that address this thing and other things. And need to educate yourself around that. Educate yourself.
Interview of the Psychic Assassin kind of talks about a lot of that, doesn't it?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
That's a good book to read.
Right.
To I guess, investigate that, expand your mind about the whole idea.
Yeah, and Interview with an Angel too.
Interview with an Angel, oh my gosh. You read that one, you will be going back and reading
again
and again. Yeah. Did I get that? Did I get that? Yeah. Plus, your emotional body, I get quite a workout.
Yeah. That book is so packed with information. So packed with information and data and also energy of expansion of awareness, that when I finished it, I told the team, hey, it's a small book. Shall I continue writing it, or shall I stop now and then we can write a follow-up book, right? A second in the series. And everybody says, stop.
Just like saturation point. Sorry, honey.
Yeah.
If you write more, it would just like overdose.
Yeah.
It's just like eating too much.
Yeah.
My brain can't fill that. It gets too full.
Yeah. Emotional body.
Emotional body's too oversaturated with
energy body,
expansion.
All saturated. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. That was my experience too. It was like after reading it, you're like, just ran a marathon.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Let me do that again. I got to go back to there. Yeah.
So, distractions can get you away from that. And often people in Walk With Me Now or here at the Shaman Shack, often they will say, Inelia, you're so patient. You've said that. How many times have you said that? You taught that sentence or teaching or idea since I was 6. Most days. So it's not about patience, right? It's not patience. It's just about not getting distracted.
That not getting distracted kind of reminds me of the little chat we were listening to with Dr. Jennifer Daniels.
Oh yeah.
Remember, don't be solving the wrong problem.
Yes.
The distraction is the wrong problem.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she has a website. We'll put the link on the notes.
Oh.
But I think it's Vital something. But if you search on a uncensored search engine, I think the least censored right now is Brave.
Maybe,
Brave search or something.
It's a moving target, that one, huh?
It's a moving target. They keep falling into censorship.
Yeah.
And you search for Dr. Jennifer Daniels. And you're going to get to her website, and she has a whole bunch of videos there that she teaches a lot of stuff. She's got a few really good books. One of them is free, and also not the others, but buy them so you can support her, right? And her work. She's got some supplements as well. But anyway, so we were listening to one of her videos, and she said it was all about how you have to be aware of not addressing the wrong problem, because she's a doctor, to get healthy, right?
Right.
So if you're addressing the wrong issue, you're not going to get better.
Pretty much right.
So you need to identify and address the right issue. And she was talking about how through many years of sitting down for 12 hours a day working, she became very weak and she could hardly use her legs. Right.
She was caretaking her dying husband or
as
something.
Well, yeah. So
she was always sitting, and it caused damage to her legs.
Yeah. So she was, at first she started addressing how to get about, how to move around. So she looked at wheelchairs and
walkers
and walkers and canes.
Lifts.
And she was working on
chairs
all
that get
that.
you up.
Yeah. And all of these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she figured out, wait, I'm addressing the wrong issue here. I should address what was actually the matter with my legs. So when she addressed that, she found out the problem was that her legs were very weak.
Her legs were weak, and she was deficient in organ meats, vitamins, which are the fat soluble A and D's that the Weston Price talks about.
Right. So she addressed that, and now she's doing taekwondo and doing splits it's taekwondo.
Oh, taekwondo, yeah, that's right.
Taekwondo and the splits, and she's very, very fit.
Right. So the physical activity and changing her diet healed the problem.
The issue, the actual issue. Yeah, she was addressing the wrong issue.
You could solve the problem by sitting in a chair longer, a wheelchair. but you could solve the problem by addressing the correct thing, the
Yeah.
issues in their life, yeah.
So
Which is the distraction,
distractions.
the low frequency ones at least.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the butterflies are flying, just go ahead and follow them. And then try and remember what it was.
Maybe make a note, you know.
What was that?
Yeah.
I'm going to watch the butterflies and then I'm going to go do that.
Right.
Right.
Growing up, I used to love having a pen, and I would make notes on my hands. My hands were always covered in words, right? Always covered in words. And recently we were doing a class here with private students, and I didn't have a pen. I didn't have any paper. And I saw a Sharpie on the table, and I started writing notes. It brought so many beautiful memories. Yeah, but if you're about to get distracted, I know it's a split second and you're distracted. But sometimes you can grab that split second and write down what you were doing, and then get distracted because it's so beautiful.
That's what I got to do before we do our shows. I've got 2 whiteboards on my fridge.
Yes. Yeah.
And they got my eraser markers.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I'll be going along, and I was like, we got to talk about this, and I run over and I write it down because hey, 1 second later it's gone. There's something on the screen, or the dogs are going to bark, or the mail's coming, or
a niggle
flies by. You got to grab it. Yeah, so I'm a fan of these whiteboards.
Yes.
For that reason,
and they're little boards that you can carry around as well.
Right, little teeny ones. I can pack it around with me. Put it in another fridge, or put it in the truck if I need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting part of her chat was about her experience with yoga, doing yoga for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And her yoga teacher prescribing her more down dogs to get her legs to work or something like that. And it wasn't working for her, so she fired her teacher.
She dropped yoga.
Dropped yoga and started Tai Chi.
No, she started taekwondo.
Something
I know it was
more
taekwondo.
about energy.
Yeah, I know about taekwondo because that was my choice of martial art.
Yeah.
I can't remember what belt I went to. It was a long time ago. Mm-hmm. But I really loved taekwondo because I loved not just the physical aspect of it, but the energy behind it, and also the teaching behind it. Our sensei would sit with us and teach us about energy and about how you hold yourself and about, conflict, right?
Yeah.
Like the first 10 minutes of every class was running, because what do you do when you see somebody trying to physically challenge you is you run. And you bypass the ego saying, I can take him on and I'm stronger and better than them and how dare they try to attack me. All those are egoic constructs.
Yeah.
So he would teach us your first skill in taekwondo is your legs, you run. Because you want to avoid it. Why? Because if you don't avoid it, you're going to hurt that person very, very badly. So you don't want that.
I don't know what it is about Asian energy work, Qigong, Tai Chi, Taekwondo, all of these
karate.
They feel like a mature, focused energy school. Although almost all of them are distracted in some way and corrupted, and all of the other stuff that normally happens. Still, it's like the thing that works in them has not been taken out.
Yeah.
But the meaning of it has been sometimes, adulterated, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember in our city where I lived at the time, there was 2 schools of taekwondo, and there was one I went to, and the sensei was amazing. He was a really, really tuned-in guy, and the other one got all the prizes.
Accolades or whatever. Prizes.
All the prizes. They won all the championships, right? And except for the very top one, he had the champion for the entire country. My sensei had him, and occasionally, one of the students would win one of the other competitions, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember, I asked. We went to one of these competitions because Daniela and my other children were also in the school, and we were competing, right, against them. And these other people, their energy was very aggressive. The only important thing is to win here. It wasn't about the art behind it. And he used to teach the art behind it. And if you win, great. But if you don't win, great.
Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant, right? So I had a conversation with him about that, and he says, yeah, because his priorities are different. They really love the trophy wall that they have, right? Mm-hmm. But he's also, he goes and says, he's also really annoyed that actually I have the champion of the country, the country's champion, you know? And if I really wanted to, I just have to he would like flick his fingers and his students would win. He wouldn't be doing the other thing, right? Because we went to competitions to learn battle strategies and all these things, right? And I remember once there was this kid who, he was way bigger than my youngest and had been in taekwondo for longer, but they put him together in the competition for something or other, right? And my youngest, I think he was like 7 or something. He was really small. And this kid was like 12. He did his best, you know, and you know, he did his whole thing, you know. Mm-hmm. And but he got distracted because he was very smiley, you know, and he was like, do a punch and look at us, you know, say, oh, how did I do? So the other guy took advantage of one of those things and kicked his butt. Mm. And Daniela was watching. Mm. And she was not happy, right? So she was next. The next round, she was put against, and they were about the same age, so he was put against him. They had to separate them. I mean, the other one, actually, one of her kicks threw his helmet off, right, across the room. The really tied down helmet. And then she went for the kill. So they had to stop her. And of course she won the thing, right? But she didn't care. She was just livid that, you know, he had hurt her little brother in an illegal way, right? He made an illegal move and took him out. And
that seems to be a common narrative with this
and
schools.
she came out like, and you know, she got talking to about controlling her anger and stuff. And do you see how lethal you are? And you know, this is not what we do. We don't make illegal moves, and we don't fall into that anger. We don't let that anger control us and all that type of stuff. And she's like,
yeah, I'm sure it soaked right in.
No,
not one bit.
Not one bit. No. But it's like that, you know. It's like there was a difference, a very, very distinct difference. And the guy, then the other sensei came to us and said, yeah, you know, I'd like to recruit your daughter. Right? I want her to come to my school, right? And the other two as well, the other children too. They've got potential. I can make them champions. I can make them not just champions in this country, but the world, right? I can do that. This is what his line was. And I remember looking over the field, not the field, the gym. You know, my sensei was on the other side. He was looking over. You know, he knew what was happening. Yeah. You know, and I just looked at this guy and I said, oh, I'll take into consideration. Thanks for the offer. And, you know, we left and said, okay, good. And he was all happy, you know. But of course we didn't. I was like, no way was I going to put my kids there. You know, there's no way in the world was I going to do that.
How come?
Because he had the wrong energy. As far as I was concerned, he didn't care about my kids or their development or their safety. He just wanted to win. He wanted the big wall of trophies that he had in his school to get bigger. That's all he was interested in. Our sensei he wanted our kids to develop. His kids, you know, to be rounded. Yeah, he had champions. But that was because, you know, that kid wanted to be a champion.
So it was sort of like where you talk about the development of the CDs or whatever that is.
Yeah.
It's a side effect of the process, not the purpose of the process.
Right, exactly, yeah.
And that's where sometimes the process gets corrupted to be the purpose of it.
Yes.
Same with taekwondo or any of the other things.
Others, yeah.
It can be, you know, side motivations refocused wrong, incorrectly, I guess. Yeah. Well, I guess correctly or incorrectly, it depends on the experience you came from. It's like, can't judge it as the wrong way. Just that's the experience they want, right?
Yes.
They want championships and battles. So that's you want that, go there.
Yeah. Or you can tell our sensei, hey, I want to be a champion. And he'll say, okay, this is the commitment that you're going to need to have, and this is how much practice, and I'll support you. And that's how he had that champion, right?
Yep.
Because it wasn't like you cannot be a champion. It was a different dynamic. The child or the man, the country champion was a man. The child or the person would make that decision from their core essence. It wasn't something that they had to do for the school or for their sensei.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting to look at motivations. Those are their whys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And physical endeavors like taekwondos or gymnastics or football or any of those things where you want to get champion level, that your why for that needs to be pretty dang strong, because there's going to be a lot of discomfort along the way, probably.
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of discipline and focus to the detriment probably of everything else.
Yes. Right.
Strong whys.
Strong whys.
But with Dr. Daniels, she didn't really say specifically what. I suppose it was, she did say something about the energy work.
No.
Of why the Tai Chi helped her with her...
Taekwondo?
Yeah, Taekwondo.
No, she didn't.
Why do you think it helped?
Maybe she's got a really good sensei. And the reason I really liked Taekwondo was because from the history that our sensei taught us was designed to make people who where weapons were outlawed in Korea, and they were small people, not physically strong people, able to become deadly weapons, to help them protect their people, right, their land and their families. So it's designed, Taekwondo, he said, it was designed for a person of small stature and mass to be able to kill a horse with one kick, because the Mongols or whomever was coming to invade them, Chinese, I can't remember who it was, they came in giant horses, right? And they were big people.
Yeah, they were much bigger than...
Yeah, than them. So that was the design behind it. But at the same time, they didn't have the resources to create weapons, right? And the weapons thing was interesting because he said the teaching, you're so fast that you can actually disarm a person with a gun, right? Mm-hmm. That's close enough. But you don't want to get in that situation, right? You don't want to get into that situations because eventually the bullet's faster than you. So literally you avoid those situations.
Sounds like sage advice.
Yeah.
Avoid those situations.
Yeah.
Those are basically also distractions.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're also, for some people, not me, but for some people, very interesting, I guess. What's the word?
Different?
No. It's like irresistible.
Oh.
If it's a good opponent.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. It's really difficult to not engage when the opponent is at your level of skill or, difficulty or whatever. It's difficult. And that can be not just people, but situations and challenges and all these type of things. It's really difficult not to do it unless you stop yourself somehow, limit yourself somehow.
What are the ways that you use to stop yourself, I guess? Because, probably people recognize they have a kryptonite of some kind, right? And in a sense, their kryptonite is a distraction so interesting, they cannot easily resist it. Yeah. It's like with Daniela, her siblings' protection.
Yeah.
Or you protecting.
Right.
And like with yourself, a high quality opponent.
Yeah. So the high quality opponent was an issue for me because I know my kryptonite is the inability to resist temptation. And therefore, one of the things that I had to do was to avoid temptation. Don't put yourself in that situation. Just don't go there. Don't do it. Right? Just don't put yourself in those situations. Because if you do, you will manifest that distraction, that conflict.
Because but the orchestration, the human collective is going to deliver
whatever it is that you desire. Yeah. Or your focus is on. So the first thing I do is avoid that temptation. It's like, don't go to a bar if you're an alcoholic and you're not strong, able to say no, right? Don't do it. And the same with conflict. With regards to this, 2011, I was taught very clearly by the human collective, the high frequency human collective Gaia, that I mustn't indulge in low frequency engagements anymore. I mustn't go to war. As a mystic, there are things called mystic wars or mystic battles, and I mustn't indulge in those anymore. I mustn't join those anymore, because after 2011 we decided to split. Yeah. And any type of armed or not armed, but conflict feeds that low frequency paradigm and takes away from the energy of the high frequency paradigm. And it was really hard. It was really, really hard. But I avoid it, right? I avoid it. And I said no. Right? And it's like I held myself, I count to 10 and I hold myself. I count to 10 again and I hold myself until the situation is over.
Must not indulge in low frequency engagements.
Yeah.
Indulge. I think people hear that word and they think indulge. And they don't really match the doing of the engagement with an indulgement. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think many people really understand what are low frequency engagements, because things like Savior don't feel or look like a low frequency engagement at first glance.
But they are.
How can that be so?
Yeah.
How can that be so? Because how can helping be
I know
low
some
frequency?
People exactly. So you look at the help energy. Okay, so if somebody's drowning in a river or whatever, and you're capable to be able to help them out of there without drowning yourself, go ahead and do it. Right? Go ahead and do it.
Row, throw, tow, then go. That's what the lifeguard school taught me.
Exactly.
First, you row your boat out there to get them.
Yeah.
Then you throw something to them.
Yes.
Then you tow them in with some rope or something. Then actually goes last on your list.
The last on your list is jump in, right?
Right.
The last in your list. So that's one of them. Another one is, okay, so the common one of do you fish for a man or teach him how to fish, right? The proper help is teaching him how to fish.
I would go with both. I'll go get you some fish. Let's go. I'll show you how to catch some.
Yeah. Right.
I'm a do it all kind of person, though.
But if you just say, you wait here, I'll go and get some fish for you, and then we'll come back and we can eat. Yeah. That's not the right type of help. No. Right?
Unless he's got money, in which case, I'll keep it like that. So the problem with these analogies.
If he has money,
he's got cheese, he's able.
He's able. He doesn't need help. He's just buying fish. It's different.
Catching it. That's different.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking about it from a fisherman's side.
You're trying to make a case for the fisherman.
Yeah, it's okay to go fishing and bring this guy fish as long as he's got a few bucks. And, if you don't have a few bucks today, we'll get him tomorrow. Like the hamburger guy.
So it's a little bit like that, you really need to look at what helping means. And
how is it when is it an indulgement in low frequency engagement?
Exactly. Codependency is a typical case.
Codependency is a typical case.
Yeah, look in the dictionary what that means. It's a typical case of negative help, and that's more based on the victim-aggressor energy.
To keep them in that victim-aggressor energy, because you're getting your fix out of the victim. Mm-hmm. Helping the victim.
Gets your fix.
Yeah, gets your fix. Insidious, that is. Mm-hmm. Must not indulge in low frequency engagement. So how about jealousy? You get in, it's like
jealousy
clearly, this guy or this girl who you like and this guy or this girl who you associate with, they get together and that makes you jealous, insanely jealous. So it's like, are you in part of this triangle?
Not
Is
really.
this a low frequency, an indulgement in a low frequency engagement?
Yes. You're creating an engagement. Now, will you have takers or not? That's up to the other people, right?
Right.
But the jealousy thing is fear-based. Jealousy is fear-based. And then what you can do is find that bundle, the jealousy bundle, energy bundle in your body, and then use the fear process and exercise on it.
Just the bundle of energy is what you really process.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that we've talked about. That was also during this week, I think.
What?
Processing that bundle of energy, not so much
the
big story about it. It's like, I'm going to process the blah, 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 blah.
But I need to find out, and I have to process
blah, blah, blah,
that
blah,
person
blah, blah.
annoys me.
And blah, blah, blah,
where's
blah,
your
blah.
annoy? Where's that annoy energy?
Where does it show up in your body?
Exactly.
Right now, just look.
Yeah, that's it.
Where is it? Find it.
Right. Okay.
And now you process that.
That bundle.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now do that.
Mm-hmm.
For all the bundles that you have.
Yep.
Because pretty soon you're going to come out the other end with a lot less limitation.
You are.
Because as you peel off one limitation, guess what?
What?
The next one pops up. And the next one, you created a life of limitation to put you on a path, whatever that path may be. And now we're in a split.
Yeah.
And the things that kept you on the path that you were on to get you to here, they're different now.
And you know what? A lot of people blame their mothers for their limitations.
They should.
But they don't. No, they shouldn't.
Why not?
That's the blame game, right? It's like victim-aggressor. You could fall into victim-aggressor. It's your mom's fault, so there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, what if it was a good thing? It's your mom's fault.
But they don't. They don't
It's
do
not
that.
your mom's fault you have
they
good
don't
homework?
Credit. They don't give credit to their moms. They just give blame. So there's 10,000 programs your mother gave you that are positive.
Yeah, but
those are yours.
Those ones you came up with. Yes, your independent
you came up with
self.
those, yes. But the negative ones your mom gave you.
Yes, of course.
Right.
Those are your mom's fault.
Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, there were millions of programs, and you choose which ones you integrated into your body or not.
Do you think people heard that? I think they didn't say that again.
Can you say it again?
Yes, it was something about there were millions of programs that were at offer, and you picked the ones you wanted to keep.
Yes.
Not someone put them on you.
Right.
I think that's what you said.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, you're the one who picked them?
Yeah.
You're actually responsible for what you're carrying?
Yes.
And some of those things are invisible to you?
Yes.
But you blame your mom for them?
Yes.
The ones that you don't like? Or pretend you don't like?
Well, it's not pretend. It's like we don't consciously go around choosing negative programming. We take those on to make us have a low frequency or low light dark paradigm experience as part of the deal.
Because literally, as a light being, it'd be impossible to do that without some limiting programs.
Exactly. You're a light being.
You couldn't do it.
So now all of my teachings are be aware that these are programs, be aware that you have limitations that you are integrated into yourself, become conscious and aware of those limitations, and then choose which ones you want to keep and which ones you want to release. And then maybe even choose new ones, new limitations.
New limitations are fine, right? But don't indulge in low frequency
limitations. Can't. Not right now. You can't. Don't.
So maybe one good practice for that would be meditating in a loud environment with lots of distractions. No,
not necessarily. So that's irrelevant. That's the whole point. It's irrelevant.
What if loud noises are your kryptonites for meditations? Like I can only meditate in a quiet place, for example.
You bundle your annoyance at loud noises. You process that bundle of energy. I'm annoyed at loud noises. You find it in your body. You process it.
Okay.
And then the loud noise becomes irrelevant.
So what's important in a sense, this process is to notice the distractions.
Yes.
First off.
Right.
And then when you notice them, see what they were distracting you from. Mm-hmm. Maybe write it down on your white pad or your hand or your paper or your notebook or your whatever you're carrying.
Speak it into your device.
Say it into your hey, Siri, I know you're listening. Remember this for me. Yeah. Whatever, right? And then the thing that's distracting you, you can give that some attention also now or at a later time, right?
Yeah.
And that could most probably be a limitation in a limiting program, right?
Yes. And
you could process the energy bundle associated with that limitation. Would that dissolve like it's my mom's fault?
Yes. Yeah, well.
The thing that you're blaming on your mom by processing the energy bundle, actually taking some tiny sliver of responsibility for who you actually are, then processing that bundle, it's dissolved and there's no more, it's my mom's fault. It's like, oh, I'm me.
Yeah.
I put that there.
I decided to
integrate it. Yeah.
Subconsciously or whatever, but you did it.
Right. Now I'm in a split of realities. And in this split, I'm going to take responsibility for those things that kept me in the place that we were. And I'm going to create the me that goes to the place we're going. Or rather, adjust my limitations.
The place I am embodying.
The place I'm creating, embodying.
Not going. We're not going anywhere.
Right. Well, I'm going somewhere.
Where?
Going up the hill, play with a tractor. You actually got to load a few limitations to go up there and play with a tractor. Side point. That gets distracted, honey.
Yes.
Back to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
To go to, which is to create the new paradigm, you need to drop your low frequency distractions, your low frequency programs, engagements, limitations. You can keep your high frequency butterfly ones.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not harming you and they're not low frequency.
Right. They're not feeding the low frequency paradigm.
They're not feeding the low frequency paradigm. You can still notice your distraction.
Yes.
Notice what you're distracted from and refocus your attention on it.
Yes.
But you don't have to process away butterflies.
Right.
Or not process away because, we don't do that. Processing is allowing full expression.
Yes.
Collecting and acknowledging the information.
Yes.
And then expanding it so that it becomes so big.
It gets spent.
It basically gets spent, and replacing where it was with joy, light, love.
Or your personal source energy.
Or your personal source energy. Yeah. Well, if you just did that for the next week, you would come out the other end of this week completely and utterly
different.
High frequencier.
Yes.
I think that's a
high frequencier.
I think we need to TM that, trademark that one. High frequencier.
Yes.
High frequencier.
High frequencier.
How do you even spell that?
High frequencier.
High frequency It's just like for high frequency R.
Yeah, high frequency
Got it. I like that. Jeez, I love it when we make up a new word.
Yes,
how do we see the word to have it come back?
Oh, you just look at it. High frequency
High frequency has 3 R's. You know what happens with 3s?
Oh yeah, it's a magical thing.
Yes, so high frequency is a spell.
Yes.
So how do we seed it?
You just think about it,
and
then
talking about
wait for it to come back from unexpected locations around the planet.
Waiting for it to come back from unexpected locations on the planet. How about you?
Sure. I think
you're going to join me in this seeding?
Yes. Awesome.
Because I've seen a lot of the words you seeded come back from completely unexpected people and sources.
Yes.
Who are, I never heard of them, and I don't think, I can't imagine how they ever heard of me, or you, or anybody in our circle.
Yeah.
And yet,
they're using the same words.
They're using the words, and not just the word, the phrase in its intended meaning.
Yes. It's pretty cool.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
We had that experience with, was that similar to what our friend did with flamingos?
Yes. Yeah, that was a magical act.
Yeah.
But
similar.
It's the same, yeah.
If you don't know the flamingo story, it was ridiculous. It was one of our instant manifester leads. And this was one of the things that she wanted to see is like, I want to see these flamingos in unexpected locations or something like that.
Yeah, she was well, we were doing
evidence.
A mystical exercise that obviously I'm not going to share because it's something that you need training for.
Yes.
not trying to create a mystery, but, we are going to reveal all this mystical information in Ivan's Academy. We're creating a class over it.
Oh, good.
But without the basics, I don't want to share tools that people can use and harm themselves with.
You don't want to be a codependent or any of that?
No.
It's like, this is a high-frequency mystical tool for a high-frequency paradigm, and that's where it will be used. And
exactly.
So I am responsible with how I share it.
Exactly,
That's all.
Anyways, she used it, and then part of that use is a process of allies and things.
Mm.
And when that happened, it just exploded into the universe, and there's pink flamingos everywhere now.
There was a business started in our village, and the business was flamingoing somebody's house.
Yes.
It had like 50 flamingos that they go plastic flamingos they go put in somebody's yard. You just pay them some money, and then they'd go there in the middle of the night, and they'd wake up and there'd be flamingos in their whole yard.
Yes.
50 of them. Like, you understand that flamingos are not indigenous to our culture or area.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
it's been pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing. And I ended up with a what's my shirt? What's the name of our shirt? The ones you got me a bunch of t-shirts. The Smiley Company.
Oh, good life.
I don't remember. Well, it was a flamingo shirt.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I can't remember them.
Yeah, because I don't like them anymore.
Bummers.
Because their shirts, I used to like that because they were really high quality.
They are. They're dense.
They're not anymore.
Now they're a little bit cheaper.
They're cheap now, and they're printed on instead of
embossed or whatever.
No, they were sewn on.
Sewn and embroidered.
Embroidered. They used to be embroidered and really high quality, and now they're just rubbish, cheap stuff that falls apart.
Oh well. Anyway, I have a flamingo shirt that came in the pile before the seating or after the seating. I don't remember. But I woke up one day and I put my shirt on and we went in for a Sunday sitting or something, and then she's there looking and I'm sitting there looking at my shirt. I was like, What? Yeah, I noticed. Now. I had no idea before. Yeah. It was invisible until then even.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Well,
Good life.
Good life. No, that's not it.
Oh.
One of the questions I have about practices, spiritual practices, meditations or yogas or qigongs or these other things, Bibles, Qurans, all that stuff, they're enduring because they have a basis in truth or for a foundation and a strength of something. Doesn't necessarily grab everyone. I mean, not everyone is attracted to a martial art, for example, although they're popular. Not everyone is attracted to Bible studies, although they are clearly popular. But there is often, most likely, something that will attract you. It's like all of the bases are covered to some degree. And those strong spiritual practices, how do you say, their foundational strength is covered up in a lot of ways by dogmas, right? How and where do we find a source? I mean, what's the right way how do we find a source of this strength and power without the dogmas attached to it? Because the practices are true, or they just corrupted too badly to even engage. What do you think?
When we decided to have a light dark paradigm here on Earth, we implemented many negative programs and programs of separation inside the individuals in order to have that experience, but also we integrated as a species here on the planet programs that corrupt groups, that hijack and corrupt groups, so that people couldn't gather in a high frequency way, because if they do, it destroys the low dark
would break the game too fast.
Yeah,
It would break the game for everyone.
All the low programs, the light dark paradigm programs, it would destroy them. So because the human collective had decided on a light dark paradigm, they implemented programs that
corrupt the teaching.
Corrupt the groups. And one of those programs is that all teachings, like all dogmas, no matter how high frequency they begin, they will end up hijacked and being used for low frequency aims and results of power over others. Is
that true even now? I mean,
No.
if you start at one now...
In 2014, I got the message that it was time now that we were ready, and the human collective was ready to be able to gather in joint endeavors, ideas and practices, spiritual practices, without that program, without those programs. But we had to invent them. We had to figure that out. We had to create a path of making those groups in order to show, like bring it in, like ideas are brought into the human collective, right?
Uh-huh.
And that knowledge had to be brought in by groups so that we can develop them. And that's what we started. That's why we started Walk With Me now. Because it was, okay, well, now that it's possible, let's go for it. Let's figure it out. Let's invent these new ideas and new energies in the group so that, or even adapt things that people have done so that we can move forward in a way that is high frequency and it's not abuse of power anymore. And it cannot be hijacked.
Nice.
Yeah. But sometimes you get people come in, and Walk With Me now that are running those Power Over Others programs. They usually don't last very long, right?
Right.
But, I used to be quite patient with them in the past. But nowadays, I don't actually have any patience. What is patience? Like we talked about earlier, the ability to repeat something, as far as I'm concerned, or do something, or wait for something a long time because the person's going to get it. But we don't have that time right now, so I don't have to. And I know there's thousands, millions, actually, there's 2.5 billion people on the planet who are ready, capable, able to do and embody the new paradigm. So there's no point even spending 1 iota of a second on those individuals who are not ready yet.
I don't think you could have said anything better. Anything more clear. It's like, I think that it matches your picture the other day. Light workers, get off your butts. Something about that.
Yes.
Do you remember that quote?
Oh, yes, yeah. Get off your butt already, man.
Get off your butts.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Get off your light worker butts.
Get off your light worker butts.
And start doing.
So, that's one thing I think that we could probably talk about in our second hour. In the middle of the chat, we were talking about Dr. Daniels a little bit, and she said yoga and her 20 years of yoga just still couldn't move, so she had to fire her yoga teacher, quit yoga, and do taekwondo. Mm-hmm. It isn't to say yoga's bad for you.
No.
Or even that teacher's not a good teacher.
No.
But it had to do with her healing story.
Yeah, the healing story, but also it wasn't the right thing for her.
Right. So I think that's something we can talk about in pretty good detail.
I don't know much about yoga, and I know that it's very good for stretching. But for me, the way I was brought up and the way that I used my physical body elemental in the past, stretching is something you do just before you exercise. And just after you exercise. So you sandwich it in the middle, there's exercise.
Right.
Like more strenuous and using your muscles, strength, So stretching, to me, is something, if you only do stretching, for me, it doesn't work. But if I do stretching before I exercise and after I exercise, it's complementary and very, very good. Really, really good.
Sure, but I don't even consider yoga stretching, although there's stretching involved in yoga. I consider yoga to be a spiritual practice and energy work and focused thing, and quite exhausted. And the yoga guys or gals that are, I mean, yoga is a Western word. It's almost like Chinese food, I think.
Yes,
yoga is like a school, right?
Yeah.
And this is one of the schools. Is
good point.
This
good
stuff.
Point.
But I think the point was,
Yeah, I think it's true. It is very spiritual. It's a spiritual practice. It reminds me of a friend who, she had to have, she was looking at having knee surgery. And I said, what's wrong with your knee? Meditation.
Yeah, too much sitting and crossing my legs.
Yeah, she said too much of the lotus position messed up my knees.
Yeah.
So I need to have, looking into surgery now. So spiritual practice is very good for you, but not for your knees.
No, not at all.
So that's where the balance comes in, I think.
I think you're right. Well, if we talk about it more in our second hour, we will.
Yeah.
What is the second hour? Because it turns out some people don't even know.
Really?
Well,
What?
probably because we wait till the very end to talk about it. And if they're not that interested to get to the end, they're probably not interested enough to go to the second hour.
I think so. I think it's the right thing just to talk about the second hour at the end.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. You can go to Walk With Me Now for it.
Oh yeah, if you're a member of Walk With Me Now, the second hour is a part of Walk With Me Now.
Or you can go to Subscribestar and get the second hour for very, very, very little money.
Very little money.
And if you want something extra in the second hour, but you don't want the full-on experience of Walk With Me Now, you get a class. In Subscribestar, you get a class once a month. And that you also get a Walk With Me Now. And you also get the weekly exercises that I send out to Walk With Me Nowers.
Plus, obviously, access to the second hour. And part of the reason...
also access to the second hour.
What's the reason for, in your mind, a whole Subscribestar thing? For the second hour. I mean, why not just make a second hour?
For me personally, there's a lot of things that I want to go into much more detail about. Some of that information is being censored on the planet right now, so having it as a private club group thing allows it to be expressed. But also, there is a level of engagement of the listener, and that investment in the second hour is a lot of time for us. 4 people, and then more editing, and a lot of work for Inelia and for us. So that investment in time, to me, is worth it for people who are actually interested in it. Right?
They're a different group of people.
They're just different. They're more interested, more active. They actually take notes and do their things. Those are the type of people that I prefer to spend that second hour with.
Already, if somebody's listening to a podcast called Driving to the Res, and it's spiritual in nature, they're already
invested.
A different group of people. It's a different breed because, it's not exactly obvious what's going on inside Driving to the Res.
No.
Until you listen.
Yes.
And then when you listen, there's some who are not ready for, but some who are engaged and interested to the degree that I support you and you support me, and together we support each other to create this new paradigm. Yeah. Those are the people that we spend the second hour with.
Exactly, yeah.
It's different group of people.
It's different energy, yeah.
And it's not entertain me, it's, hey, I'm part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I see it too.
Me too.
Well, super. We had a great chat.
Yes.
I love you, honey.
I love you too,
I feel complete. How about you?
Me too.
Give me a kiss.
Okay.